I'm about to whip somebody's arm.
Now, from the Autoglass America studios, it's the Mike Calta After Show.
Is this thing on? Word.
So what, we get drunk.
Oh, we do.
So what, we don't sleep.
Life short.
We're just having fun. We don't care who sees. So what?
It's going to make some Bone listeners feel old, but this reminds me of the class of 2012.
Young and wild and free.
I'd be going to underage drinking parties that I was allegedly not really invited to, but the way it would roll was it was like interning at a radio show or like working in promotions. Like I would get my foot in a door at the popular parties. I would hit up the like kids that were kind of cool and I'd be like, hey, can you get me into this underage drinking party? And then all of a sudden, man, this song would be playing.
So what, we don't sleep. We're just having fun.
And this was like pre-social media, so all you might have is like a Twitter picture in 2011. But now, there's no way you could have an underage drinking party because of social media. Hey, this is Ryan Hoppe. I'm in for Carmen on the Mike Calta After Show on 102.5 The Bone, doing my podcast, Hoppe Hour, which can be found on every single platform by searching up Hoppe Radio, Hoppe Radio. And call the show, 727-579-1025 and 1-800-771-1025. You can tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio, and you can always email me, ryanhopperadio@gmail.com. Up next, I'm going to let you guys know what's up next on The Bone, even though I know you know. Roger and JP with Monica and Brett from 11 to 2. And then we have Drew Garabo live with John Senning and Joey Flash. And we have the Cat Named Mo Show, Johnny B, and then it begins all over tomorrow. So a lot happened this weekend in the NFL. My favorite part, I would say, about the NFL playoffs, no, it's not watching the best of the best go at it. No, it's not hearing Joe Buck be corny. Or Tony Romo have a complete and utter bias for the Cowboys where I thought I was watching the home team's broadcast. What I love about the NFL playoffs is when teams choke and you have a memorable moment that will forever be on that player's name. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, remember, I think his name was Kyle Williams from the 49ers in 2012, and he, like, dropped that punt, and that was what caused the Giants to go to the Super Bowl, and I think they had Alex Smith as quarterback. Like, no one ever cared that maybe he had another touchdown that went great. Everybody remembers Kyle Williams dropping the ball. But I thought this was a huge moment for Dak Prescott's legacy this weekend. Because he never wins any big games from the Dallas Cowboys. It's utterly ridiculous. And I actually was hoping he would win so that the Bucs could play him. Because I'm a little nervous about them playing the Rams because Matthew is pretty good at playing quarterback. I'm saying that like I'm friends with him. But it's funny when you watch the NFL playoffs. There's a lot of times players just come out of nowhere and do great. Mario Manningham catching that catch for Eli Manning in the 2012 Super Bowl against the Patriots, and then David Tyree catching the one in 2008 against the Patriots as well with Eli Manning. There are always players who are average during the year who come up and do great. And at the same time, there are always players who fizzle. In the past, it was Phillip Rivers. Matt Ryan hasn't been good for a minute. But oh my goodness, I think it's time, Tampa Bay, and let me know what you think. Because Tampa Bay is a very good football town. A lot of football towns don't know their football. They just know what's going on, like Cleveland. A lot of football towns don't really know what's going on besides what's in their town. But what I like about Tampa Bay is I feel like the average Tampa Bay fan wants to know what the competition is, and they're always in the loop. So they know what's going on with the Falcons. They know what's going on with the Panthers. They know what's going on with the Saints. I think that's the whole NFC South. And, like, they're always in tune. So I want to ask you guys, what is going on with Dak Prescott choking every time in the playoffs or in the regular season when they just beat okay or decent teams, but then choke against elite teams? I think we have this funny thing where we love to live in the past, and we definitely do, because everybody has a fascination with the 90s. And what I love about that fascination is it comes with everybody comparing professional athletes to Michael Jordan, or comparing people to Joe Montana or the Cowboys of the 90s. And I have some really depressing news to tell you, Tampa. That was 4 decades ago. The amount of time between 1950 to 1990 essentially is going to be that in about 10 years between 1990 and 2030. I did the math. We need to quit living in the past. Just because the Dallas Cowboys were good for about 30 years, but they haven't been good for the last 30 years, and quarterbacks like Trent Dilfer, who are okay, have more playoff wins than the Cowboys since 1997, 98. Guess what was happening the last time the Cowboys won? Lion King was the most purchased VHS. DVDs weren't even around yet. And everybody lives in the past. Everybody goes, oh my God, the 1990s. Oh my God, Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are awful. And there's something in the mindset of Dak Prescott where I don't think he's a leader. He's nice to people. He's known as a good dude. Obviously, he's going through some pain with losing some of his family members over the years. But oh my goodness, every time it's time for him to just be good, he's not. Like running in the middle of the field when you have no timeouts and not knowing the ball had to go to the ref first. It's just common sense. And no, I'm not saying I could go out there and play quarterback, because I couldn't at all. I tried out for quarterback in 2008 when I was a freshman, and my passes were awful. Because my logic was I'm going to be a quarterback like the cool quarterbacks in the movies, like Superbad, that got laid, and that was going to lead me to getting laid, which it didn't work. I was 21 when I got laid. But what I'm saying is when I tried out for quarterback, my passes were awful, and my coach said, are you really trying to play quarterback? And I never went to practice again. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I would be a good leader, you know what I mean, as a quarterback. But enough of this defending of a player not knowing what's going on in the moment. In the way that Dak Prescott makes so much money that that's his job. And when you're running in the middle of the field with no timeouts, you quite possibly might be an idiot. Now, you can say, well, here's what happened. He got nervous, but I don't care. That would be like if I came to Board Op the Mike Calta show and I pressed all the wrong buttons and then I blamed it on everybody else and never took accountability, which I'm not trying to manifest the past, but every single time I have messed up in the past, I've always taken accountability. So here's what happened. There were Dallas Cowboy fans who were throwing things on the field. And a reporter asked Dak Prescott, hey, what did you think about the fans throwing the things on the field? And Dak Prescott goes, oh, I thought that was gross, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody said they were throwing it at the fans. And Dak Prescott said, yeah, that's cool. And that to me is why he will never win a Super Bowl, because he was not a man. He was not a grown-up to take accountability. He blamed everybody else, and that is why the Dallas Cowboys are irrelevant, and that is why their coach, Mike McCarthy, is lucky that Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback when he won a Super Bowl, because he is horrendous. He is awful. He also has more money than me, but I am skinnier than him. Hi, you're on the Mike Calta After Show. Hoppe Hour taking over. Who's this?
This is Tony.
What's happening, Tony? What's going on?
Hey, man, I just got to say, Dak hasn't been looking too hot in his last couple games, especially the game against Arizona. I think it was week 16.
Well,
Dak has been throwing the ball horrible.
Well, here's the thing, and then I want to ask you your opinion on Arizona. But real quick, I want to ask you, I just think there's a culture at the Cowboys of losing, because when I think it was Jerry Jones' son was like nervously walking back and forth behind him, and then he realized he was on camera. And that to me is the opposite of BDE and a winning mentality when you know you're going to lose. But I was thinking about it. I was like, Dak is no different than Tony Romo. I don't know what the mindset is, bro, but the Cowboys, every time you need, even in the first week that they played the Bucs, like they're never able to close it out. And I don't know what's missing there. I truly don't know if it's Jerry Jones being the owner, but there's some energy, bro, where every time you're like, the Cowboys are going to be different, they never, ever are, bro.
Yeah, the injuries, I think, definitely weren't their problem this year. I just think playing an extra week and Dak performing very poorly. I don't know what's going on, but
I just don't like that he's like
Dak
blaming other
better.
people. Like he's like agreeing with the fans for throwing things. Because to me, man, if you were throwing things on the field, you are just a disgrace to sports fans. Because a lot of my girlfriend's friends will kind of do that thing where they're like, ooh, you like sports ball? Like trying to demean me because I like sports. You know what I mean? That like attitude. And that's because whenever somebody thinks of sport fans, if they don't watch sports, they think of the idiots that throw things on field. You know what I mean?
I don't know if it was the Bucks game or the Cowboys game, but someone was throwing a roll of toilet paper out there, man. I don't know if you could look back on that, but
dude,
some of the things they bring in is absolutely ridiculous.
Can you imagine if you did that in March or April 2020? That would have been like, people would have been diving for that toilet paper. That's very bizarre. Do you ever think about that, going back that we were fighting over toilet paper just 2 years ago?
Yeah, I just told people to take a shower, but, whatever, go waste your money. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, throwing things at players, and it's very childish. But, you don't expect anything less from the Dallas Cowboys organization. So,
and I mean, it's just weird. Like, what I love, too, I think the person who was the cameraman for the game was quite possibly probably not a fan of the Cowboys because they were showing the douchebags that were watching the game that were sad. And I'm like, what are you crying over? They don't know who you are. I used to cry over sports, and then I moved out of my house, and now I have to pay rent, and I don't cry anymore about sports. But I get it. But if you're a grown man or woman or whatever you identify as, and you're crying over a team that's worth billions of dollars, and you might be worth up to $200,000, you got to get your priorities together.
Yeah, spending $100-something million on a quarterback for 3 playoff wins since the 90s is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
Colin Kaepernick has more wins than the Cowboys in the playoffs in the last 30 years.
Kaepernick was good, though. Everybody, whatever you want to say about Kaepernick, but he was good. It was just that it's weird. I'm beginning to realize that I have a good memory about sports that I watch. It was at the end of that game against the Ravens, he threw that bad pass. Like, he was really close to winning a Super Bowl. Like, everyone wants to knock on Kaepernick, but Kaepernick was good when he was good.
Oh, they won that. The Ravens won that Super Bowl for Ray Lewis. Come on. It was, lights out. Come on, man.
And nobody talks about the fact that Joe Flacco didn't have an interception in this playoffs. Well, my man, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. I got a full board of calls to get to, but I appreciate talking to you.
Good to hear you. Good to hear you on the radio, Hoppe. Have a good one.
Thanks, homie. I'm going to go on the line that these calls came in. I don't know why I said that because it has nothing to do with you guys, but I just did. I'm giving you Radio 101. Hi, you're on the air. What's your name?
Dave. How you doing, Hoppe?
I'm doing great. Do you have it on Bluetooth or speaker, and is it off now?
I'm talking on my Brokeback Galaxy S21.
You're good, bro. That's probably why. What's happening?
Now, I just want to say that, first and foremost, you were absolutely owning the airspace this morning. I absolutely love this energy, man. You don't get enough time on air, in my personal opinion. I know we've had a couple of conversations on the radio about that before, but, I mean, this is really nice. So how are you feeling about the Buccaneers going up against the rush-hoppy, sorry, pun intended, offense we have going on here next weekend? What's your feelings on that?
So I am no football analyst. I'm not really like an expert, so I'm not going to be able to break down the X's or O's. But I will tell you that Matthew, every time you need him to be elite for the Lions or for the Rams, they always choke. And last night, Kyler Murray looked like hot Vince Young 2010 garbage. So
Absolutely.
I think if we can get interceptions off of Matthew, we can win. I don't think this is as far-fetched. It's just we can't have drop passes, and we need to not allow him to throw 400 yards because he can be awful. There are times that I go, who is that guy? And then there's times I go, how are you not winning more? So I really think if we can contain Matthew, that's the way to win. That's the only way.
I think Vita Vea being healthy, JPP being healthy, I think that is going to be very, very pivotal going on because we need to be showing up on defense. But more importantly, we need to make sure that Evans is untouchable. We can't afford to lose another guy in the secondary at all.
Yeah, Very much agree. This is where I run out of things to say about the Buccaneers, but I do appreciate the call. You know what I mean, man? I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Have an excellent morning.
You too, homie. All right, one last call before we go to break. Hi, from the 863. You're on the air.
Hey, Hoppe. Good talking to you, buddy.
What's
Good
happening?
hearing you. Hey, so correct me if I'm wrong, but were you the astronaut in the Lightning games?
Yes, sir. That was 2016 Malectronic with Ben Malik. I made it on SportsCenter. I was blowing kisses at the Detroit Red Wings, which I am not really a Blackhawk fan. I became a Tampa Bay Lightning fan when I moved here because everybody became a Blackhawk fan and jumped on the bandwagon, and I was grossed out. So I'm more of a Tampa Bay Lightning fan. But I will say, growing up in Chicago, I had utter hatred for everything Detroit. I think it's a despicable city. I think it's gross, and I hate all their sport teams. So when I was in the booth, I was blowing kisses at the Red Wings and annoying them, and it felt amazing because I just despise that city.
Well, I was wondering, why don't you ever get back to that then, or do it for, the Buccaneers or the Lightning again? I mean, you went pretty viral. I was pretty sure it was you.
Yeah, that was
on the
me.
news and stuff.
I'll have to hit up Ben Malik, which his website is malectronic.com, and he's a huge friend of the Mike Calta show. And I'm not just saying this because I'm friends with Ben. He's truly got the best headphones. Like, he's a beast.
So, yeah, like I said, try to see if you can get that gig back. Go viral, put the name out there. I mean, you see some of these fans on, like, the Raiders or Saints or Vikings that are just, you see them and you know who they are because they've been a fan. They're like an icon, like a little mascot without being a mascot. So you're like, okay, why don't you think about getting back on that? That was pretty cool. Get some views, maybe YouTube videos where you can get some money, I heard, on Roger and JP. They pay people for videos, I guess, or views.
Hey, man, do you want to be my agent? You're pretty good at this.
Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's set it up.
All right, hit me up on Facebook. I appreciate you. All right, one last call. All right, and then we got to go to break. Hi, 941, you're on the air.
Name out there?
My name's JP.
What's happening, JP?
How's it going, man?
I'm just talking to you. What's up?
Oh, no, I was talking out. I thought it was Spencer. Excuse me. Yeah, what I got to say is, man, when are you going to drink some bleach and go croak somewhere, bro? Like,
during this commercial break.
Happy hour. Happy hour.
Now, back to the Mike Calta After Show.
Fun times in Cleveland again. Still Cleveland. Come on down to Cleveland town, everyone. Under construction since 1868. See our river that catches on fire. It's so polluted that all our fish have AIDS. We see the sun almost 3 times a year. This guy has at least 2 DUIs. The flats look like a Scooby-Doo ghost town. Don't slow down in East Cleveland or you'll die. Our economy's based on LeBron James. Buy a house.
Not anymore.
Silver VCR. Our main export is crippling depression. It could be worse though, at least we're not Detroit.
Which are pretty bad.
We're not Detroit.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Mike Calta After Show. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, filling in for Carmen with Happy Hour. Call the show at 727-579-1025 and 1-800-771-1025. You can tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio, and you can always email me, ryanhopperadio@gmail.com. After this will be Roger and JP with Monica and Brett. Then Drew Garabo live with John Setting and Joey Flash. The Soul Brother Kevin show with Gareth, Spike, and sometimes JR. And then Johnny B and Will tonight. Check out Will's podcast, Homemade Podcast. So I see this headline here, and this is from Bro Bible, which when I say that there's a headline from Bro Bible, you're probably rolling your eyes like, oh, Hoppe, why are you going to Bro Bible? It's a pretty good news source, believe it or not. I mean, if you're going to compare it to CNN, I'd go with Bro Bible. Former Cleveland Brown Joe Thomas gets demolished for trolling Pittsburgh over playoff elimination despite never making the postseason. So I love when fan bases and players that have no winning experience will then hate on a franchise that's kind of, in its wheelchair going to the end of its career, like with Ben Roethlisberger. You know, like he won 2 Super Bowls. They had a winning record every year. But then you have former Cleveland Brown Joe Thomas throwing shots at them. And it's like, really, bro? You played for bad teams. I get that you're a professional athlete. I get that you make more money than me. But I also live in Tampa, and you lived in Cleveland. His tweet at Joe Thomas 73, if you want to respond and say I talked about it. He says, and he tweets Pittsburgh, congratulations on your playoff participation trophy. Call me crazy, but I'd rather have a playoff participation trophy than never make the playoffs ever. I would rather have a playoff participation trophy than be a salty douchebag who never really did that much when it came to winning. He was a good player on the team, but those teams for Cleveland were so bad that anybody was going to be better. You know what I mean? So if he would have been on, let's say, the Patriots with Brady, he would have been any other player because he was on Cleveland and they go through new players all the time. He looked amazing. It's just sad, man. Like, I never won growing up. I never was able to get a girlfriend growing up. I didn't make any sport teams, even though now with my quarter life crisis, I'm trying to learn about basketball. I never wanted anything, ever. I got all bad grades. I was legitimately thinking that the point of life was to always lose. And I moved to Tampa, and I make a lot of coworkers mad. So then I go, but that was because of my immaturity. And I go, okay, I'm never going to figure it out. And then I'm not just saying this to kiss my girlfriend's ass, even though I love doing that, and more. Meeting her has humbled me because I will have the most amazing time at work. I will crush it on the Mike Calta show like I do every time. I will crush it on Happy Hour on the Mike Calta after show every time. And then I'll come home and I will be told, why wasn't the trash taken out 24 hours ago? And I could be getting all the love on social media and in the messenger section, or I could be getting all the hate that people say behind a keyboard, behind a private account on the Mike Calta page. But none of that matters. I am very numb to it. Because when I'm feeling down on myself, I like to listen to Gary Vee. Listening to Gary Vee is like having a 7-Eleven hot dog. Like, it doesn't make you feel good afterwards, but in the moment, it feels great. And he said the way to be successful is to not care about compliments and to not care about negative comments. So literally, I'm almost kind of uncomfortable when I get these listeners, these awesome truck drivers who are like, I listen while driving through North Carolina, like my friend Soda said, and it's like, damn, man, like what I'm doing right now is getting listeners like this guy or girl or whatever you identify as. Hi, you're on the air. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Rich.
Oh, what's happening?
Yeah, I was thinking about talking on it. He was making a point about people not making the playoffs.
You're on the air. We don't have a screen. You're on the air, my friend.
Okay. How about this? How many teams out there would love to go to the Super Bowl knowing that they're going to lose? Give me a break.
Yeah, so you're saying that
Right?
that former Cleveland Browns Joe Thomas is in the wrong here. Am I correct?
Well, yeah. Well, no. Who's the one who said he deserves a participant? Yeah.
That was former Cleveland Brown Joe Thomas, who never made the playoffs, and none of his teams were ever good. He was talking about Pittsburgh losing to the Chiefs and saying, and he tweeted at them and said, "Congratulations on your playoff participation trophy."
Yeah, right. Yeah. And tell how about he would not? Tell me he would not love to go to the show knowing that he's going to lose. Give me a break. Everybody would go to the show knowing that they're going to lose rather than clean out your locker and see you next year.
I appreciate that. Do you have any fun plans this day we have? This January 18th, 2022?
Well, let me tell you, yeah, my plans. My daughter and grandkids are coming down, and we're going here and we're going there, and I'm just hoping I can squeeze in the game. Worst comes to worst, I'm going to watch it on my phone.
I feel you, man. I appreciate the call, bro. Thank you for listening.
Tell me he would not never go to the show.
I will never get why people don't turn down their radio. 727-579-1025 and 1-800-771-1025. This headline I see here, It's so ridiculous. I get that prices are going up, and I get that everything's terrible right now, and you can't get Gatorade at Publix, but this headline here, man, shout out to this company for thinking they are worth their price hike. This is hilarious.
We are back now on a Saturday morning with Pop Start. And of course, that means NBC News Now anchor Joe Fryer is up with what we have. Hey there, Joe.
Hey there, good morning. First up, news for Netflix users. The streaming giant is hiking up those prices. Depending on what plan you have, you could see an increase ranging from an additional $1 to $2 a month. A Netflix statement obtained by CNBC says we're updating our prices so that we can continue to offer a wide variety of quality entertainment.
Yeah, that means offering great quality. That means overpaying comedians that are awful. And then you have some good specials like Dave Chappelle and Bert Kreischer. But along with the Dave Chappelles and the Bert Kreischers of the world, there is some awful comedy on Netflix. So that's why the price hike is going up, is they're overpaying everybody and they can't afford it.
Options. The price increase will take effect immediately for new subscribers. For everyone else, you'll see that bump on your next bill.
There is absolutely no reason that Netflix's price should be going up. Their original content is utterly atrocious. I like watching classic things. I don't like watching something that's woke or something that's trying to preach to me, like all the movies that are on Netflix. I like a good Paramount Plus, watching Cat Dog. I like Hulu, watching American Dad. I like cartoons. I like HBO Max, watching like Friends or Fresh Prince. I like the classics. And that's not me living in the past. Well, maybe. Hi, you're on the air.
Hey, Hoppy, how you doing?
I'm doing swell. What's happening? Don't know why I said swell, but what's happening?
I just wanted to tell you, I think you're doing an awesome job, notwithstanding the bleach comment from the other listener.
It's all good. That was the perfect way to go to break. That should be my comedy
awesome.
writer.
You handled it. Yeah, you handled it perfectly. And I love Carmen, but I think you are the man for this, for sure. And as far as the NFL comments, I absolutely agree with you. Joe Thomas has nothing to say. And I give Pittsburgh, and I'm not a Pittsburgh fan, but I give Pittsburgh a lot of credit for sticking with Ben all these years. He was a great addition to that team. He played really hard. And, if you're playing against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs or Green Bay or even Tampa with our injuries, and, the Eagles found out they were the underdog, and clearly Pittsburgh was the underdog, and they played as well as Ben and that team could play against such a powerhouse as the Chiefs. And listen, I think the Bucs are third or fourth seed to maybe get to the big show, but they got to get by some injuries and stuff. But you know what? We got a quarterback that knows how to command a team, and I think he's got a real shot at it, even with those two major teams in the way. And of course, we got to get past L.A. But I think your comments are spot on about Joe Thomas, and that was a stupid comment on his part.
So when you're watching the NFL, do you pay attention to the commercials?
Sure.
Have you seen those Apple Watch commercials where they're showing the worst possible scenario and, oh, thank God I spent a lot of money on an Apple Watch. I fell down and now I can call 911. Have you seen those?
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely have. And that is fantastic marketing. They're kind of like I love the Culpepper Curlin ads, with the dog and inputting the different ethnicities, and they do the whole game without saying anything about being a lawyer. It's just good marketing, and the guys and ladies that write that kind of stuff, they should be commended for coming up with something different, because otherwise it's just whitewashing, and you can't see through the noise,
I hate it because I can't even watch The Twilight Zone without getting triggered. I am not into scary things. So when somebody's on a ship in the middle of the water and they can't see, I feel like I'm on it. It's weird, man. I don't like those commercials. They're very dark.
I agree. Well, they're looking for new ways to impress people, and I think they've covered everything else, so now they're going to the dark side.
Well, thank you, my man. Thank you for the call.
All right, Hoppy. Good luck, bud.
All right, thanks. I got all the luck I can get. I don't even know what that means, so we're going to move on. Hi, you're on the air. 890 or 813, you're on the air.
Yeah, this is Tony.
What's going on, Tony? What's happening?
Hey, just to give you a little statistics about the Cowboys. Jacksonville Jaguars joined the league back in 1995.
Yes.
And including the year 1995, the Jacksonville Jaguars have more playoff wins than the Dallas Cowboys.
Really?
So, yeah. So for them to still try to call themselves America's team and all that stuff, they're horrible. They've been horrible for a long time now.
I appreciate that, man. I did not know that Jacksonville was like that. Honestly, Jacksonville is like the armpit of the NFL, just like Jacksonville, or as Jacksonville is as Jacksonville is the armpit of Florida, Jacksonville Jaguars is like the armpit of the NFL. It's gross.
Exactly. But they still have more wins in the playoffs than the Cowboys. That's amazing.
If you look at the 20 fans that are at the game whenever they show people in the crowd, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's a real person. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just being real.
Yeah. Well, San Francisco, probably 30,000 fans in Dallas for this last game.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job, Hoppy.
I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Right. I got a few tweets here at Ryan Hoppe Radio. First is from the main Ryan 85, which is a guy with a Cleveland Browns picture. Said it means he's very passionate about the team and can't admit any faults. Your take on Joe Thomas is ignorant. Joe was getting trolled, so he threw shade back at the fans. Browns went to playoff last year. Abs beat the Pittsburgh. It's a rivalry, Hoppy. That's how fans talk to each other. Yeah, but when you respond like that, it's not BDE. You're not commanding the room. You're coming off like a douche. Hi, you're on the air.
Hi again. I was wondering, did you ever look into, because you were talking about overpriced, with the Netflix, the Tom Brady brand? Do you think it'll ever be as big as Jordan or anything like that? Because his wife's a fashion icon.
I think he's the next one because, you see all these Gen Z. I mean, I sound old saying that, but you see all these Gen Z people on social media putting it up, and yeah, I think it'll get there. I just don't think it'll be accessible to people that are middle class like me. It's so expensive that I don't know. I can go either way. What do you think?
I think that eventually, I'm hoping it will be as big as Jordan, because the day it opened up, I purchased a couple of the items, and they should be in the mail today. I don't have a ton of money, but I feel like you leave it in the box for about 20 years, some kid will grow up and spend a ton of money, hopefully, on it. But I'd like to wear it. It's just so dang expensive. I just don't want to. I don't know. I'm torn on it. I'm hoping it'll be big. Great job, Hoppy.
Thank you, bro. Just go to South Tampa and ask any Chad there on how to get it. Oh, he hung up without letting me finish that joke. Hi, you're on the air.
Hey, Hoppy, it's Matt.
What's happening, brah?
I just want to say that you're doing a good job. Number one. Number two, I just want to do a little take on the Bucs against the Rams. That's cool.
Give it to me. What's up?
All right, I was going to say this. The Bucs will lose if they can't stop the run, which they weren't really able to against the Jets, and they miraculously came back against them. Their run defense has not really been that solid, but if Vita can actually do great, then they'll be fine. But just like what happened yesterday, the Rams were able to run the ball, and they shut down the Cardinals. I'm afraid that's what's going to happen to the Bucs if they can't stop the run and Stafford gets on a rhythm. He threw 8 passes, 6 for 8 in the first half. That's all they needed, and they were up 21-0. Yes, a pick six, foolishly by Kyle, but still. And secondly, I just wanted to say it's no longer the SBK show, my brother.
I said that?
Yes, accidental. It's okay. Cat named Mo.
Oops. Sorry about that. Damn it. All right, thank you for that. Wow, that's embarrassing. 727. Wow. Oops. 727-579-1025 and 1-800-771-1025. Okay, we're about to wrap this up. Up next, okay, I got this time. Up next is Roger and JP with Monica and Brett. Then it's Drew Garabo live with John Senning and Joey Flash. And then it's the Cat Named Mo show. I was thinking fast with my ADHD. You have to realize there's 1,001 thoughts going in my brain all at once. So it's the Cat Named Mo show with the Cat Named Mo, Gareth, Spike, and sometimes JR, and then Johnny B and Will. I appreciate everybody who loves or hates me because any reaction is good reaction. Check out my podcast, Hoppe Radio, a.k.a. Hoppe Hour. It's on every single major platform, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and much more. But that doesn't really matter right now. Up next is Roger and JP.
It's the Mike Calta After Show on 102.5 The Bone.